Hi, do you feel overwhelmed by the amount of work you think you have to do? Feelings of stress from lack or hearing those negative voices like, this is too much, I can't do it, or I don't have enough money. Hi, I'm Lana Wolfe, and in today's masterclass, I want to help you turn your mountains of doubt and limiting beliefs into molehills. By taking the steps I will go over today, we can overcome stress and anxiety from your overwhelming life and live a life with intentional destiny. I suffered from post-traumatic stress after my near fatal experience 7 years ago. I had been stabbed, poisoned, drowned, kicked, beaten, had a knife in my neck. But the final attempt was when he tried to break my neck by stomping on it. After the second smash, I managed to say, God won't let you kill me tonight. And he managed to stop. He actually confessed to murdering me later that day, and I was left to pick up the pieces of my life. I was taking pills in the morning to help me sleep and pills during the day to help me focus at work. It didn't happen overnight, but eventually I overcame the panic attacks every time I heard someone walking behind me or saw a guy in a hoodie on the street. According to the National Institute of Health, over 8 million people suffer from PTSD in the US, and another 40 million suffer from some type of anxiety. This is almost 1 in every 5 people. You probably know at least 1 or 2. And these numbers only represent the people who seek treatment or who are honest when asked. How many people suffer in silence? And in reality, it wasn't even the PTSD that was holding me back from enjoying life. My anxiety was deeper. It was the limiting belief of what would the neighbors think? The narrative I heard from my mother that I'd been told since I was a kid. How many of you have heard this one before? Or something similar, that I'm not good enough or I'm not smart enough. And all these little negative beliefs do is prevent you from living your life to the fullest. I want to teach you how that we all have challenges that we must overcome. But if we set our intentions, we can change our destiny. A lot of people say all you have to do is raise your vibration and you can manifest anything. But that's crap. Because if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it successfully. To manifest, you must be in a state of ataraxia. That's a Greek term that I learned, and it's being free from stress and worry, and also trusting that your desires will be fulfilled. So your healing from these limiting beliefs starts with forgiveness and self-love. And self-love is the acceptance for who you are based on what had happened in the past. This is how you ended up. So it doesn't mean that you don't have dreams and goals and that you want to improve. It just means that you accept yourself right now for who you are. So be present and live in the now. We operate best when we align with our purpose and desires. One of the first steps is to reaching our goals is to be clear on what those desires are. The belief that you can accomplish your goals activates phenomenal capabilities. When we visualize how your life would be different after you reach your goals, it's setting the stage in your mind to manifest. The important thing really is feelization, where you actually feel what you would experience when you reach your goals. When we feel our desire as if it had already happened, the brain is already changing. The neuroplasticity is a term that relates to when the brain's ability to form new networks and connections, and it's based on the input. And it's not just from learning, but it's in the thinking. So learning our experiences changes these chemical and physical structures, but so does just thinking and feeling as if it has already happened. It changes the wiring in our brains. And so setting your goals with intention is the beginning of this stage of rewiring. A committed intention is different than a goal. The goal is the destination or the outcome you want to reach, but the intention is the commitment to do it. So the inner work is weeding out all those subconscious blocks and barriers you've built against the thing that you really want. Intention is also different than motivation. Motivation is fleeting, it's in the moment, but intention is transformational. You are now stating that you want to change, no matter what, within legal limits, of course. But without intention, there is really no expectation for success. You know, I could have easily died that night, but living the same day over and over and over like I used to in the office is as good as being dead. And you don't have to experience trauma or be on your deathbed. You have a choice. You can be miserable at work, in a bad relationship, and want to travel more, and generally just feeling stuck. We can make a choice to do something different. Sometimes it takes doing what you're scared of to reach your goals. Push the envelope. It's only by doing what feels uncomfortable or what seems impossible that we get to the next level. Failure doesn't really matter. It's by doing. You are learning. And if you persist, you will win. What would it feel like to become the person that you want to be? I had a phrase that's like, I am who I will be, because everything you have in you already is destined to be who you want to be. And as I mentioned, failure is not important, but what is important is that you keep trying. The resiliency, or the bounce back muscle. And through being resilient, even those who suffer post-traumatic stress can learn to see that the stressful event is just a learning opportunity. You can explore who you are, and you can continue to grow as an individual. And this is what helped me overcome my PTSD. By taking the time, I learned who I really wanted to be, and I was able to challenge myself and move beyond the pain. Challenge is the pathway to the highest level of influence. So challenge your thinking, challenge your relationships. People who don't support you, do they contribute to your creativity and well-being? And challenge yourself. Demand better of yourself. Find your compelling reason to change. No elevator is going to take you to the top of the mountain. You must first take that first step and then pass each level on the way. Often we think that if only we'd have a new house or a new job or more money or losing the extra 5 pounds, we would be happy. But by changing your exterior circumstances, that won't make you happy unless you change your inner tendency towards the negative self-talk and this negative patterns that are ingrained in your mind. So the key to losing anxiety created by the limiting beliefs is to alter the aspects of your life and to promote less anxiety, more relaxation, and healthier thoughts. So I'm going to share my screen with you for a few minutes. So to start your anxiety to reduce, we want to start it today. And it took years for you to develop your anxiety, unless you suffered a traumatic event, like I did. So it's not going to disappear overnight. But what I'm going to tell you are 7 habits that I use to strengthen my ability to fight the anxiety and the PTSD. And it will help you live in a state of peace starting today. The first one is exercise. So check with your doctor if you have any medical conditions, but regular exercise is one of the best ways to overcome anxiety, even if it's just a walk around the block. Eventually work up to something anaerobic like jogging, swimming, riding a bike to get the blood pumping. Because the more you exercise, the healthier it will be in eliminating the PTSD. So after my near fatal experience, I had set a goal to hike 14 14ers in 2014. And this is one of those 14ers. And if you look, my puppy's up there waiting for me. So I'll talk about goals later in a minute, but this got me outdoors and spending time in nature, which is another important element of reducing stress. And believe me, it's a lot of exercise climbing those mountains. This alone eliminated many of my symptoms from the PTSD and anxiety. And I was probably in the best physical shape of my life that summer. So exercise releases neurotransmitters that improve your mood, and boom, instant relief. Exercise has been compared favorably to drugs with fewer side effects. So if you're already on medication, please consult your doctor, because a lot of stress actually has chemical imbalances that can only be helped with prescriptions. Step number 2 is get more sleep. Sleep deprivation, even in small doses, may not have a noticeable effect, but yet at low levels, sleep depth causes hormonal imbalance, which increases brain stress, and this leads to nervousness, and you got it, more anxiety. The key to reducing anxiety involves ensuring you don't do anything that makes it worse. So ensuring you have enough sleep is crucial. This was an issue for me, especially before my trauma. I remember weeks where I would only get 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. Sometimes I still do. But one of the biggest benefits of this exercise was it helped me develop a better sleep pattern. You need to guarantee a full night's sleep, even if that means going to bed early and skipping your favorite TV shows. I don't even have a TV. I mean, some people use it to unwind, but other people, it can create stress, and it wasn't helping me. Number 3 is stay active. Many people with anxiety want to sit back and just get lost in their thoughts, the rehashing of what they could have done differently, or rehearsing what may never be, the stress of the future that probably isn't going to happen. And this isn't helpful. Anxiety tends to bring out all those negative thoughts, and it's a downward spiral to more negative thoughts, and eventually it can lead to full depression. So simply staying busy all day is super helpful, unless your stress is about not getting everything done, which is a whole nother issue. So as soon as you wake up, it's helpful to have a good morning routine. I recommend Savers, which is a routine by Hal Elrod in The Miracle Morning. Savers stands for silence or meditation, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. And he uses scribing because writing just doesn't work. He needed an S. And another thing for scribing is journaling, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. So when you're at work, stay focused on the project at hand. And when you're home, do your chores, have a hobby, play with the dog, anything except sit around the house and doing nothing, which is why I personally don't like watching TV. So after my trauma, I credit my dogs for keeping me active. I would walk them for a couple miles in the morning and a couple miles in the evening. And this not only ensured I was getting exercise every day, but it kept me super busy. And I didn't sit around the house feeling sorry for myself until later that year when my contract ended. And that's all I did was sit around the house. And I wasn't even walking the dogs. I felt the anxiety and the depression building. So what did I do? I joined clubs. I got out of the house. I started meeting people, and I went back to hiking with the dogs. And believe me, it helped really quick. So it doesn't matter what you do, as long as it's mentally and physically challenging, so you won't have time to think about those negative limiting beliefs. And one way to help with this is to set goals, both short-term and long-term. And this is number 4. So setting goals are important to help keep the anxiety and depression at bay. In the short term, the goals or the to-do list will help reduce your confusion and wasted time. Often with anxiety, we're scatterbrained and we can't focus. And in deep depression, you actually lose track of time, what day of the week it is. Sometimes you even forget to eat. But the short-term goals ensure that you're staying active and working towards something. And the other key for long-term goals is being realistic. So a long-term goal gives you something to look forward to. And I've heard stories of people who were depressed that alone was something that kept them from committing suicide. So again, goals are really crucial to preventing anxiety. And yes, you want to check it down so that they're bite-sized, that can be done daily or weekly, because a lot of times you get burned out or frustrated if you don't get that sense of accomplishment. So considering having an accountability partner or coach to keep you on track for reaching your goals. I haven't listed this as a separate step, but maybe I should, because having someone to help you share in your trials and celebrate your successes is super helpful. And being around other people is also essential. So after my experience, I set up very much like you probably set up with your intentions for your goals, with little more than a sincere desire and hope to change things. And as I mentioned above or below earlier, one of my short-term goals was the 1414ers in 2014. And that's hiking mountains over 14,000 feet in elevation. There are 54 mountains in Colorado, with some of them more technical than others. So I took my battered body and I went on this quest. And I didn't make it to the top every single time, because a lot of times, I think about half the time, there was a blizzard or lightning storm or something. So I had to turn around. But I did manage to get all 14. And a lot of times, especially in the beginning, it was one step at a time. Literally, I was counting 10 steps and then 10 more steps and then 10 more steps until I reached the top, conquering those mountains and making them into nothing more than molehills. And the view from the top was just gorgeous. So hiking not only kept me active and kept me focused, but I got plenty of sunshine and exercise. So I challenge you to take the time today after this masterclass to schedule at least 10 goals, both short-term and long-term. So something you can complete in the next day, the next 10 days, the next year, the next 5 years, and at least one goal for 10 years out. So part of my goals, I call them my bucket list. And I take like 5 steps that I help teach people to fill their bucket. And the first one is getting clear on what you want to do. And these goals aren't set in stone, but at least you have something to work towards. So once you get clear, then the other thing is to set your vibration or get rid of those limiting beliefs. Because if you have the thought of, I don't have enough time or I don't have enough money, you'll never really get started. So the next thing is plan it. And after you plan it, get engaged. Actually book it, then do it, and enjoy it. So as part of your bucket list and your challenges, the key is to do less of the things that don't matter, do less of the things that drain you, do less of the things that don't get results, and do more of the things that energize you, that light you up, and that create amazing results. So number 6 is, or number 5, I'm sorry, is the self-care and finding time for yourself. And many people, they push self-care to the back burner. It's never important enough. You have work obligations, family obligations, and life in general just always steals your time. So perhaps you've always wanted to take up painting, or write a book, or travel to exotic places. It could be something small like walk in the park, or taking a bubble bath, even finding or buying yourself a flower, anything that makes you smile. Make a for you list. Turn these into goals and schedule them. Then you'll always have something to look forward to. And the best thing about self-care is you set your own rules. There's no right or wrong. There's nothing that has to be. Some people want to travel, some people don't. But it's whatever makes you feel happy and be present, enjoying the moment. So like if you're sitting in the bathtub, that's a me moment. Don't let your mind wander thinking about all the things that you should be doing. And I've been checking things off my bucket list, such as rafting the Grand Canyon, hiking those 14ers, writing a book, and hiking through the redwood forest, buying a house near the beach. And every time I do check something off my list, I add a new for me goal. And here's some of the things that help or that you taking self-time will do for you. You have a longer life. You have less stress. You have lasting memories, better health, more energy, more happiness, increased productivity at work, and less regret. So the next step, and again, these aren't in any real order, the next step is breathing techniques. Have you ever been in the throes of anxiety attack and you felt you couldn't breathe? That's the anguish of hyperventilation, which is actually expelling too much carbon dioxide, kind of counterintuitive because you feel like you aren't getting enough oxygen. But the best thing to do for this is to control breathing. Whenever you feel anxious, take a long, deep breath, breathe in for 5 seconds, hold it for 3 seconds, and then breathe out for 7 seconds. This regulated breathing can be done anytime, at your desk to help you stay focused, before a presentation to give you a boost of confidence, and it's essential when meditating. And it also helps relax to help you go to sleep. And I do it just throughout the day. And the last thing on the list is starting a gratitude journal. That's the S in scribing that we talked about earlier in the morning routine. And one of the best things to overcome your anxiety and depression is expressing gratitude, because you can't be anxious when you're truly in a state of gratitude. And it's important that you think positively again, because anxiety has a tendency to turn off the ability to see the positive in life. It's like all those happy memories are on Teflon and they just disappear. You can have 10 good things happen to you every day and only one bad thing, and you remember the bad thing. And this is based on instinct. Our ancient ancestors needed to remember what was dangerous for their survival, but we don't need to dwell on the negative anymore. So I challenge you to the next 21 days, keep a positivity or gratitude journal. Write a minimum of 10 things every day that happen to you during the day or that you're grateful for when you wake up. And be so specific as possible. Things like the cashier in the store was friendly and gave me a 10% discount, or the boss gave me a good review. The neighbor shoveled my sidewalk. Sometimes it's just seeing the sunset or finding a dime on the sidewalk. And right now, I'm grateful to all of you for listening to this class. Every day, write at least 10 things as part of your journaling routine. I have a few more tips in my book, What Would the Neighbors Think? Overcoming Your Fears and Limiting Beliefs, which should come out next month. And I'm sure you've heard it before, but also just general healthy lifestyle. And that's eating healthy, no fats, no sugars, no fried foods, more fruits, more vegetables. And I would consider taking vitamins if you really suffer from anxiety, such as magnesium and the B complex. And I personally like L-theanine, which is a tea extract, especially when I'm experiencing insomnia. And I'm not going to go into all the ways to have healthy eating because you can find that online. But it definitely includes exercise, as I mentioned above, and getting lots of sunshine, at least 15 minutes a day. And even with these small changes, one step at a time, you can make a big difference in your life. And in our perceived reality, there are we have boundaries of time, space, and opportunity, but they're not real. They're only imagined because our opportunities are limitless and there's no space or time to stop us. What exists is pure potentiality, and it's only activated through our beliefs and our intentions because everything is energy. True transformation is accomplished through attention and intention. The clear vision of our desired outcome. Attention energizes us, but the intention is what transforms us. You have the power within you to live a life filled with love, joy, health, compassion, friends, material possessions, and anything you choose. Expect and accept those ultimate good things in your life. Imagine how it would feel to live a life without negative mind chatter. I believe in you. And even if you don't believe in yourself, lean on my belief, because if I can overcome the trauma from that near fatal attack and all the voices in my head with what would the neighbors think or I'm not good enough, I believe that anyone can overcome their internal trauma and negative self-talk. So imagine what it would feel like to live a life without negative mind chatter or the anxiety. I mean, imagine if you walked in the world every day believing to the bottom of your feet and the bottom of your soul that the world is always working for you. I love that phrase. Dr. Schuler once asked, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? And you should ask yourself the same question, because once you start believing in yourself, the possibilities are endless. Napoleon Hill once said, the mind of the man, whatever it can conceive, it can achieve. So don't merely ask the universe for permission. State your desires with absolute resolve and certainty. Feel in your being that feelization and trust in your soul that your desire will be fulfilled. And just like climbing a mountain, when you face your challenges and obstacles to reach your goal, like the mountains of doubt, the mountains of procrastination, the mountains of judgment, and the mountains of all the hundreds of other excuses, remember, you have certainty in your goals and your desires. Your mountains will bow down before you. You have the power to change your destiny. I challenge you to find passion in your life. What's on your bucket list? What thoughts are holding you back? And what steps can you take today? Thank you for listening to this masterclass. I hope it gave you some insights for reducing anxiety, experiencing self-love, and reaching your goals. I know we covered a lot of ideas today, but after going through my experience, I'm committed to helping others live their life, the life that they deserve, without any regrets when they reach the end of their life. Who wants to join me in living a life with intentional destiny and conquer their next mountain? If you have any questions, please reach out and leave a comment. So thank you.